have a staff. I don't need a staffer to whisper in my ear to advise me on those things. So I believe that I have the right, humbly believe I have the right profile and background for the people of this district for the future. I believe I have a better message of pro-business and pro-growth. Mr. Barber voted not to repeal Obamacare. Mr. Barber voted last week not to extend the Bush-era tax cuts. And whether you're registered as a Democrat, an independent, or Republican, if you're in business, that's not the way to go. That's not a pro-growth vote. So I believe that we've got a better message for the number one thing that's facing everybody, which is bringing stability back to the economy. And we're looking for people's investment and people's faith and trust in me to serve them. The district is 35.5% Republican, 33.5% Democrat, and 31% independent. I got that right. I did do my math right. So you need somebody who's able to appeal to all of those. And I am conservative, but I am not divisive. I'm not inflammatory. I'm very pragmatic, and we have complex issues facing our nation. And even if people don't agree with me, I believe they can trust me, and that's what people are looking for right now in Congress. And so that's why I'm going to win.
My impression is you're going to bury Barber if he doesn't get out of the way. But my question to you is this. Congressional elections are often based on issues in local areas. Can you tell us what your position is on the Rosemont line?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And I always, when people are asking me questions, I'm always asking myself, what does the federal government have to do with this, right? Because I often get asked about a lot of local issues that I always have to say, what does the House of Representatives have to do with this? So when I came back home, I promised that I was going to talk to everybody on all sides of all these issues so I could make a thoughtful, analytical decision. And I met with the people from the Rosemont line, and I met with those who oppose the Rosemont line. And I would tell you that I have some concerns about Rosemont line. In general, I am pro-jobs. In general, I am pro-mining. But the potential negative impact of this mine, this particular mine, on our water quality, our water level, and the potential negative impact on other parts of our economy in the area are enough to make me concerned. I own 18 acres of land in Elgin. Okay, so this is actually personal to me. I invested in that land, and it's that part of the community, plus this part of the community, that's got some of the strongest concerns. So as I have looked into it, I have enough concerns to say, okay, my role as a member of the House of Representatives is to make sure that there is a fair and equitable and timely process and oversight of federal agencies, right? They need 2 federal permits. So my role of the House of Representatives is not to pick winners and losers, it's to make sure that the processes to get permits that include the 404 permit and the other permit, that those are fair, timely, and equitable. They're working through those processes, and when I get into the House, I'll make sure that I provide that oversight to make sure that those are fair and equitable processes across the way as we see this thing play out. There's a lot of local issues, a lot more state and local permits needed than federal permits. So I am maintaining being skeptically neutral as far as the money goes. I'm not coming out leading the bandwagon for or against it, but I have enough concerns to say we need to let this thing play itself out, and I want to make sure that in my role of oversight of federal agencies that there's a fair and equitable process. Fair enough?
What is your take on
Mike's not.
what is your what is your take on the overturning of the Don't Ask Me?
Okay, question was, what is my take on the overturning of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy? I served as a squadron commander, and the issue for any of these types of policies is good order and discipline, right? For everybody who served, it's all about good order and discipline. As a squadron commander, I had to deal with a lot of misconduct, and to be honest with you, most of it was heterosexual misconduct, and when it comes down to that kind of misconduct. Because oftentimes a lot of personal misconduct can be impacting the mission, right? I mean, whether it's what they're doing outside of work or what they're doing on work, it's all about good order and discipline. So I supported the policy while it was in place, or the law while it was in place, and I have been watching this process. I've been out of the military when it happened. The chain of command appears to have actually seriously studied and invested in making sure that this change would take place without impacting good order and discipline. Because it's about making sure there's a climate that people are able to serve, but if their behavior is impacting good order and discipline, regardless of what their lifestyle is, that it's not going to be accepted in the military. And that's a pretty reasonable threshold for all kinds of misconduct, right, for everybody who serves. So, you know, the chain of command has certified and agreed that, hey, this is actually happening right now without much impact. I, you know, personally have now realized that people who have served with me and people who have served under me actually are gay, and I didn't know that at the time, and they were great troops and great officers who really served their nation and really, you know, contributed to the defense of our nation and the mission. So the law's been changed, the policy's in place, the impact has been negligible, and I think we need to focus right now on making sure we defend America from all the threats that are coming around the corner. We've got the right caliber and quality of our all-volunteer force, and we're also focused on all these other priorities that we have right now. So, who's in charge of it? Right, you got it.
How about the invisible war?
The invisible war?
Sexual harassment or attack or rape in the military, where a federal judge says that rape is an occupational hazard for women in the military.
Well, I haven't read that judge's opinion. I mean, I can only tell you that, again, having served 26 years in the military, the issue is of leadership and good order and discipline. We have people serving from, you know, men and women from all races, all backgrounds, all religions. And the bottom line is, people serve put on the uniform. Their conduct needs to be one that enhances the mission, and enhances teamwork, and that makes sure that we are spurred on together to focus on the mission and the defense of the nation. So any behavior that's impacting that needs to be routed out like a cancer, taken seriously, not tolerated, and you know, that needs to be a very visible response to any type of that behavior. I mean, sexual harassment and sexual assault, the military has no tolerance for it. I've seen over the course of my military career how sometimes out of a little naivete or ignorance, that even though they were trying to do the right thing, they really didn't know how to respond to it well. I think that's changed a lot in the last decade, just because there's just a lot of ignorance, I think. It is now, I think, very visibly a leadership, a leadership standard that it will not be tolerated and it will not be accepted and it will be routed out. As a commander, I had to deal with these issues. And I'll tell you, it's not just trying to get to the routing out the perpetrators, but it's also what we would call the facilitators and the bystanders. And facilitators are people that, I'm not actually committing a crime, I'm just sort of helping with it. And the bystanders are people who kind of see something's not quite right, but they don't do anything about it. And so, our focus has been, when I was a commander, hey, if anything's reported, you take it seriously, you do it right, you investigate it, you get to the truth, and you route it out. But you're also addressing the leadership climate of not tolerating facilitators and bystanders for this crime. So, women have served in our military, and we're one of them for many, many years under challenging circumstances. And they certainly deserve to serve without harassment and without assault. And so that is certainly the goal. And in my oversight of the Defense Department, I will be making sure that this is something that continues to be taken seriously, so that our women can be safe when they put the uniform on. Yes, sir.
This country, from my perspective, is the most divisive I've seen it since World War II. How would your leadership skills work across aisles, across divisive perspectives, and reinstill constituent services?
Thank you. The question was, the country's the most divisive that he's seen since World War II. So how would I use my leadership in order to address this divisiveness across the aisle and restore constituent services? Again, I can only give you my example in the military. I mean, those who have been in the military in leadership positions, it's a different dynamic because you can always order people in the military, but as a leader, you have to bring together a wide breadth of people with different perspectives and different backgrounds and different ways that they want to solve problems. And you got to figure out how to get nuggets of things from them and figure out how to get everybody together as a team and not just follow the order, but get behind it so that you can actually get something done. So, I mean, I have that experience in doing that. I certainly have the experience of trying to figure out what is the right thing to do and how are we going to be effective in this and actually use my education and my experience and my leadership in order to be effective and credible. I can use Senator Pye